And just like that, we're on the air everywhere. Hello, good morning from Portimão. Welcome to the Ferrari Challenge weekend that forms round 5 of our 2026 season. And we're about to go qualifying for our Copa-Shell and Copa-Shell AM drivers to set the grid for their race 2 to come this afternoon. And there you can see the VIP suites and our calendar for 2026, where we are reaching the critical point of the calendar with regards to the championship. Because after this weekend, we only have 2 rounds to do, round 6 and round 7, where we go to Budapest in Hungary, and then the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. And not only is that round 7, but it's also home to the Finale Mondiale event as well, which is pretty fair dinkum. Darned good event, that's for sure. Current temperature is 19 degrees, and we have air temperature of 21 degrees. We're expecting that, of course, to increase during the course of the day, and that's what we can look forward to. Bit of high cloud around, but there was quite a bit of wind yesterday. That's not the case today thus far, but that might increase before we get into the racing a little bit later on. So there is the Algarve International Circuit then in all its undulating glory. And I say that with not the hint of a tongue-in-cheek. It really does wind its way through the Algarve countryside here, and it is very much a roller coaster. These are the drivers that you can expect to see out on track for qualifying. Paolo Scudieri, Ernst Kirchmeier, Jean Riou, Henrik Kamstrup, Masaru Yaneda, Shintaro Akatsu, Louis Peruskia, Tibor Valent, to name but a few. Here comes Charles Chan, Alvaro Ramos, local driver. Fritz Muller, Sven Schirmer, von Skeltermar, Karl Runefeld, Jan Salmon, Leon Rinbeek, Eric Chung, and Alexei Komarov. 18 of the drivers, if they have a yellow color bar, it means they're a Shell driver. If they have a black color bar, it means they are a Shell AM driver. Final stages of preparation then ahead of qualifying to get underway. Let me introduce my learned colleague alongside me, Nico Spalek from Germany. Not his fault. Formula Racing Charles Chan. He's getting ready to go, Nico. And wow, what a couple of races we have in prospect today. The races didn't fail to deliver. Quite some drama and excitement yesterday, and this man was part of it, Ernst Kirchmeier. We will expect the same during qualifying, I would think.
Yes, good morning also from this side of the commentary booth. And Ernst Kirchmeier, he was very strong in the race yesterday for a long time. Didn't end up where he thought and where we thought he might end up, but it was just one element and one puzzle piece among
part of that drama, wasn't it?
Everything changing within the span of but a few laps. And Karl Runefeld, he was strong and he finished on the podium, P2 if memory serves, in Copa-Shell. As always in Copa-Shell, we bring together 2 categories, Copa-Shell AM with the black sunstrip and black-end graphics as sported by Henrik Kamstrup, and he is giving us a small wave ahead of the qualifying session, which is about 1 minute to start. There is Paolo Scudieri. He also was one of them. He was on a provisional podium position with mere minutes remaining, and then ended up on the side of the track. And it was a story for so many drivers yesterday, both in qualifying and in the race, where you were on top or at the lower end of the standings at one point and found yourself quite in a different spot very, very quickly after that. Very strong throughout the entire season, Jean Riou.
Oh, I had a conversation with him after the race yesterday, and a very enjoyable conversation as well. He's very complimentary, I have to say, and I really appreciate that. Let's be complimentary about your driving, Sean, because it's been awesome. Really, really enjoying Ferrari Challenge here. So as you can see, the cars are lining up then, and you can see 1 or 2 cars have got slightly different coloured panels to those that they had yesterday. That's just another indicator of some of the drama that we had yesterday. And here comes Jan Salmon, who's heading the queue with Sven Schirmer right behind him. And Masaru Yaneda's in that mix, as well as von Skeltermar. And yeah, number of drivers choosing to head out fairly early on, Nico. They have 30 minutes. Now, the rule of thumb here is that the drivers will go out generally early stages of this with a set of tyres that was used yesterday. About halfway through the session, they'll come in and they'll put a new set of Pirelli tyres on, and they'll qualify on those tyres, and those tyres are the tyres that they will start the race with. And there's Louis Perusquia, driver of the 119 car for Rosso Corsa. Truly, truly super gentleman. I've had so many great conversations with Louis over many years of his racing in the Ferrari Challenge, both here in Europe and also in North America also. You saw with the opening graphics that the Ferrari Challenge then, a worldwide sensation, it has to be said, as it spans not only Europe, but the UK, Japan, Australasia, North America, and of course, from this December, the Middle East.
It is a wonderful amalgamation and combination of different parts of the world, different cultures, all combined with the prancing horse and the ambition and the emotions of Ferrari displayed all around the world. And it's not only the different regions where we race, but it's also the drivers coming from different regions. We saw Jean-Roux from Korea, so it's not like they keep to their part of the globe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that kind of, as we look at Andrea Gagliardini there, who is driver coach to Sven Schirmer, you know, there is a positive encouragement, Nico, for drivers to interchange through regions, and that happens a lot. Ernst Kirchmeier actually is one of those drivers that's done an awful lot of driving across many of our championships, whether regional or whatever. Sven Schirmer there, just we're running the clock on him early. Let's see what he can do in the 175 car. Sven Schirmer, since joining the Ferrari Challenge, as he picks up the track limits, and that means this lap is ruined, Nico. He won the Copa Shell AM Championship last year, got elevated to Copa Shell this year. As a result of that, you know, that's a promotion that you get, and is leading the championship points in Shell. And there's his wife Farnes to the left-hand side of the picture, and Andrea Gagliardini, centre picture there, is his driver coach and motivator. Von Skeltermar, driver of the 177 car, complete with the shark's teeth, which has been such a feature of the Von Skeltermar image, if you like, over many, many years of Ferrari Challenge racing. I can recall, I think it was 2 years ago, Nico, at the glittering Finale Mondiale event, to which I am very privileged to be part of the presentation team at the awards. Von Skeltermar receiving almost a Lifetime Achievement Award for his contribution to the Ferrari Challenge over so many years.
And rightfully so, but sometimes you get a Lifetime Achievement Award, and effectively at the dawn of your career, no such indication for Von Skeltermar.
Far from it.
Tell him at your own peril. He is going as strong as ever. He was on the podium yesterday in P3, and has shown after, I think it's fair to say, he needed a little bit of time for the 296 challenge and himself to really get into the groove.
There are some drivers that took to the new 296 challenge car like the proverbial duck to water. There were other drivers where it has been a period of time before they've been able to integrate themselves with the car and get the best out of it. And I think you're absolutely right, and I think Fons will be the first to admit it, that it took a while, didn't it? But when it came good.
Indeed, and he is now, again, very, very regular podium placer, and he is also strong in the championship. He's not leading it, but he is among the top three, emerging from yesterday's race.
Yep.
Scored some decent points yesterday, and he will look to do exactly the same. As we go on board with Alvaro Ramos, home gig for our Portuguese contestant, for the Santiago Arranque Competição. I'm sorry for butchering the Portuguese. I hope I will be allowed to leave the country tomorrow without having to undergo a language course. Ramos, very, very nice gentleman. Lots of guests and friends here. I hope I can make that up. Sorry, Alvaro.
Okay.
I'll get my coat.
It's Jan Sandman who's at the top of the chart at the moment, the left-hand side of the screen, as you can see. He's posted a 1:47.052. Don't expect that to be indicative of where we will end up at the end of the session, but that's where we are right now. Charles Chan is second fastest. Two drivers in the 47s, Jan Sandman and Charles Chan. Alvaro Ramos, we run the telemetry on. As you can see, fifth gear climbing uphill, then onto the brake, down to third gear. Real roller coaster, this circuit, as we've said more than once. Now, absolutely full chat, flat uphill, pulling very nearly 182 kilometers per hour before just lifting again through this left-hander, back on the gas. Give it everything you've got. And then just tentatively increasing the pressure on the throttle once again. The sound of these 296 Challenge power plants are awesome. This long, sweeping, winding, downhill final turn before it's absolutely full chat flat. Now, that's more than can be said for the elevation of the start-finish straight, which is anything but flat. Two elevation changes across the start-finish straight, and Masaru Yaneda goes to the top of the chart with a 1:46.078. There is the Arusha Competición. Did I do that better? No,
yes,
because I didn't do it properly.
You did it better.
Right. To prove what I was saying earlier, Sven Schirmer has come in. He's taken the scrubbed set of tyres off from yesterday, new set of tyres going on right now, and he's getting ready to go out and use the final 22 3/4 minutes of this qualifying session to set his best time for qualifying, and he would like to be on the front row of the grid, Nico. He would like to be on pole position. Masaru Yaneda's had a lap disallowed because of track limits. Two drivers in the 46s, Masaru and Jan Sandman. Everyone else in the 47s, 48s and such like. Here is Louis Peruska. Oh, and that's Jan Sandman, who was off and now he's not off. But a bit of gravel going to be distributed on the racing surface there. Hopefully we might have a replay of how he went off. Look at all those bits of gravel that are being scattered across the track. Here it is in replay. What happened to Jan Sandman? Just pushing a bit too hard, maybe?
On turning in on the inside of, that's turn one at the end of the long straight. And
only one wheel dipped into the gravel, but it was enough, wasn't it?
It was enough, and it distributed quite a bit of gravel onto the racing line, and that's going to be a place where the teams and the driver coaches will warn their drivers to be very careful there when they hit those spots for the next few minutes. And I wonder whether that will inform the decision by some of the drivers when to come in and change to the new set of Pirelli P0s, because the next few minutes you would assume your ability to score a top time is going to be compromised, so you prefer other drivers to sweep that away.
Yeah. Use them as the road sweeper effectively, Nico.
Yeah. Problem is, if everybody does that, then that effective is nullified. Louis Peruska,
good showing. P4 at the moment, Nico.
Indeed, P4, that is P3 in class. For the time being, we've mostly had Shell Am drivers at the forefront, with the only exception, Jan Sandman. There is Louis.
He's a great guy. We've had so many superb conversations.
Absolutely, and underscoring just the fact that the drivers who compete in Europe don't necessarily all come from Europe, also from North America, Asia, of course, the Middle East. So great combination of characters, skills and backgrounds. Alexei Komarov, for the time being P5, but two personal bests means that he is about to do something about that in the early stages of this session. Well, I say early stages, we're already 10 minutes in, as near as makes no difference. Last two turns for Alexei, the 199 car. And now into that long sweeping right-hander. I think he may have slowed down there, and I rather predict that's going to be pit entry.
He's indicating right, coming in for a sandwich, which is, I'm being flippant, of course he isn't, but he's certainly not going to continue on the lap. So it is Masaru Yaneda, Jan Salmon, Charles Chan, Louis Pruskia, the top 4 at the moment. But do expect that to change over the next 20 minutes. We can already see 6 tenths down across the first sector already is Ernst Kirkmeyer. So Ernst having a really good go here. Sector 2 not so good though, Nico.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he's still pushing.
I don't think he is.
It sometimes feels unintuitive that the driver who did a purple sector at the beginning of the lap would bail the lap without any specific reason, but the drivers and their teams and their coaches have a specific plan of how to approach this quali session, and they will switch to the fresh set of Pirelli P0s, which inevitably will give them better traction and the ability for a better lap time. So whatever they can do on yesterday's set is kind of academic. I say kind of. Sometimes having that banker is of utmost importance. But the teams, the drivers have their plan, and they won't let them get distracted for the most part by a purple sector.
You explained that really rather well. So here we can see Jan Sandman, who was momentarily out of the car, now back in the car again. Rather suspect the vacuum cleaner has been used to extract some of the gravel. I'm not saying that Jan was the pilot of the vacuum cleaner to so do, but maybe he's just jumped out of the car for a comfort break or something, who knows. But you know, Jan is the quickest of the Shell drivers, despite his little off, Nico. A 1:46.221. We're watching Jean Roux now with personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. A little bit of a wobble there on the final turn. But Jean, of course, comes into this qualifying session with the confidence of having taken the win yesterday, and his second fastest in class, third fastest overall. So the Kessel Racing driver driving the yellow and black liveried 108 car, which anything yellow and black, my colleague alongside me considers to be a very fast opponent.
Well, it's actually an old Ernst Kirchmeier reference, who used to sport a yellow and black livery that I thought looked very menacing and aggressive, and hence the moniker was given to that car, and it stuck.
The Flying Hornet.
Sting. Two drivers who haven't featured in this session, or who have featured already very prominently in the season, are Tibor Valent and Eric Chung. Neither of them have come out, and we can only assume that they're probably going to go out with a fresh set of tires immediately and just leave it at a very low number of laps.
This is going to be a good lap, Nico. Sorry to cut across you here. Sven Schirmer, currently third fastest in class, ninth fastest overall. All of a sudden becomes first fastest of everybody with a 1:44.424. And there, Mr. Gagliardini looking on, very happy. The GPS map has appeared on our screens. Lovely. So Sven Schirmer, 1:44.424, Nico, 7 1/4 tenths quicker than anybody else. And we saw the new tyres going on. There is the driver of the very, very successful 106 car, which has not got the yellow and black colours at the moment. That's Kirkmeyer, who you're pointing out something on our timing screen as we look at Bens Valent, left-hand side of your screen there. Bens Valent, a young driver who's son, of course, to Tibor Valent, and Bens, a former star in the Ferrari Challenge, Nico, who's gone off to do other racing now, been successful in the Ferrari Challenge, but when available comes here to coach his father. The thing you were pointing out on the our timing screen was the fact that Ernst Kirkmeyer has had 3 laps deleted.
Indeed, and as you can see, he's only lowly P16, belying his pace, but he hasn't put it all together, meaning that on every quick attempt that he had thus far, he exceeded the track limits somewhere, and that meant that lap didn't count, which means the only lap that he has on the board legally is a 2 minutes, which is, well, 16 seconds away, which obviously no indication of his pace. But it is this one little element that you really have to put it all together. As Sven Schirmer improves on his previous best, it looked like it.
Yeah, my inhaler prep was in fact wide on the exit of that final turn. I'm not sure whether that would have been looked at. Fritz Muller is looking lively here, Nico. Fritz Muller from Austria, driving from Go Motorsport Engstler. He's 2/10 down in class. 2/10 quicker than Shintaro Akatsu. So let's see whether Fritz Muller can maintain this trajectory of speed and usurp the current Copa Am pole sitter, which is Shintaro Akatsu, who at the same time is going for another hot lap as well. So as we would expect in this second half of the qualifying session, things are hotting up really rather nicely as Fritz Muller goes to break the timing beam now, and he goes from P6 to P2 in class. Shintaro Akatsu is following though at a rapid rate of knots, driving the 115 car that you can see center screen now from the Ainiko Reparto Corsa Ram team. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. This is going to be a very good time, I would think, from Shintaro Akatsu. His previous best, a 1:45.148. He's got one turn to do. Full chat flat on the gas pedal. And let's see how he does here. And he crosses the line with a 1:44.173. Quicker than anybody else out there on track, Nico, by 2.5 tenths.
Absolutely. Shintaro Akatsu was P2 yesterday. Fritz Muller, P3. Both of them, again, showing in top positions. And may I just add that Trajectory of Speed is a great name for a 1970s glam rock punk band, I have to say.
You did not have to say, and I'd really rather you had.
Sorry. Shintaro Akatsu with whatever title you want to give to him. Shintaro Akatsu P1 overall as well as in class. Fritz Muller, as you can see, second in class with 2 personal bests, meaning he is looking to encroach on that lead from Shintaro as he's in the final sector.
There's another name in the Can I just say, Sven Schirmer, Nico, he's had 3 lap times deleted as Jean Roux has just bettered Sven Schirmer's time and has gone to P2. Jean Roux is not in pole position yet within class. He's posted a 1:44.352. Shintaro Akatsu is thus far unbeaten, Nico, with just under 12 minutes to run.
Absolutely. There is Jan Salmon, one of the drivers that we always expect to be at the sharp end of any standings. He's currently in P3, but the color coding on the graphics certainly indicates that an improvement might be in store, and in about 15 seconds or so we will know with this double right-hander concluding the lap. Oh, there is a little bit of a wobble. That wasn't the quickest way around, but he keeps it together, keeps control. It's a 1:42, 1:43, and a 1:44.118.
Well done, Jan.
It's the fastest time of everybody, but Jan Salmon will feel like there was a little bit more in the final sector.
I agree. This is it. As he dials on the opposite lock to control the power slide perfectly, that will have cost him a couple of tenths, I would have thought, Nico. You know, that might have been a sub 1:44 time.
Yes, and I'm very curious to see how Jan Salmon does the next time around. Von Skeltema only a few 1,000ths off the pace. And Sven Schirmer always menacing when it comes to your position on track. Currently in P3. He was in the wars yesterday, I think it's fair to say. And
with Jan Salmon.
With Jan Salmon. And you can see he has lost nothing of his pace and ambition. Quicker than anybody through that first sector, as Charles Chan has just unseated Jan Salmon. So the battle is on for both in the Shell and Shell Am with about 10 minutes remaining.
Who's going to be the first driver into the 43s, Nico? Because Charles Chan has delivered a 1:44.052, which is a similar time to that my colleague alongside me posted on leaving the hotel this morning.
was no need for that.
The hotel has got this remarkable sort of entry-exit Christmas as von Skeltmar got as close there to Shintaro Akatsu as he dared, and crosses the timing line now. Yeah, the hotel complex has got this really nice approach and entry road. Nico in our rental clunker. Wow, you were quick, friend. Right, here's Sven Schirmer, who's equally quick and needs to vault himself because he's P7 overall, Nico. I know it's only P4 in class, but it's not where Sven Schirmer wants to be, and he now goes to P2 in class and P2 overall. Another driver into the 43s. So the first of those was Jan Salmon with a 43.558. Now Sven Schirmer with a 43.727. Here comes Fritz Müller. His sector 1 looked really promising. His sector 2 less so. And the Ainiko Rapato Corsa Ram team just taking a look at the car of Shintaro Akatsu, who's second now in the AM drivers. First in the AM drivers is Charles Chan, but here comes Fritz Müller. Tibor Valent, who you were talking about just a few moments ago, Nico, is on track right now. And personal best in sector 1 and sector 2. Well, we would expect that because it's his kind of early timed lap here, the Rosso Corsa racer, Tibor Valent, who we pick up on now, driving the 132 car. Tibor, great driver, no question about it. Knows just how to get the most out of these 296 Challenge cars, and also seemingly the Portimão circuit. He crosses the timing line and goes quicker than anybody else with a 143.523. The margins, though, Nico, are getting smaller. That's 3 100ths quicker than Jan Sandman. So what I'm saying is the difference between P1, 2, and 3 now is minuscule.
Indeed, but it was really, as you said, Tibor Valent's first flying lap. The first 2 sectors were good, but not blisteringly good. But the final sector is where he put it all together, and expect him to be quick once again. So does Ernst Kirchmeier, half a second quicker through sector 1. So he is the one who we've seen run foul of track limits. That's what he needs to avoid now. There is Bence Valent, son of Tibor, and I just see that Tibor Valent's time was disallowed at the very end, so he drops back down the order, so he has to do it all over again. First sector is an indication that he's on track to do just that.
So too is this man, Ernst Kirchmeier, then. Sector 1, he was up. Sector 2, he was down. And when you were up, you were down. But can he pull it all together in the final sector here? Here comes Ernst Kirchmeier then. There, confirmation on screen. Tibor Valent then. Track limits means that his last lap time was deleted. So, as Nico has said, he's got to do it all over again. And Tibor Valent now with further track limits infringements means this lap is not going to count either. But here comes Ernst Kirchmeier. To my knowledge, it's a clean lap. Oh, and 4 1,000ths quicker, Nico, with a 143.554. 4 1,000ths. Shintaro Akatsu, always happy, always full of love. What a great guy. Talk about the spirit of the Ferrari Challenge. There you saw it in one driver's emotions, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw von Skeltmar walk away from the car. Currently 4th in class, 7th overall. So qualifying,
yeah.
You probably feel about it. But he also feels like taking more out of the tires is futile at this stage. He'd rather preserve the freshness of his Pirelli P0s for the race later on. Jean Roux dominating the Shell M class thus far, has almost as many points advantage as he has in the championship, which is not, he hasn't sealed it, but he's on pace. He's not on pace for pole position for the time being. Currently P2, some traffic ahead, which he navigates with expertise. But I wonder whether this lap might propel him to the front. I rather doubt that it will be enough. It's a good lap, but it's not one that will trouble P1. It came close.
But jolly 3 100ths. Here's Tibor Valent. Now, sector 1, personal best. Sector 2, not quite so good. So Tibor Valent is not only battling the tarmac out there, Nico, he's also battling the white line.
Yes, Yes, indeed. Although, even though the color coding wasn't as indicative, our timing screen says that he is on trajectory to really trouble the front runner. So he has to keep it together clean. He was one of those who, after a yellow flag yesterday or a red flag in quali, came back and improved. And will he improve in the dying stages? Well, he jolly well does.
He jolly well does. 1:43.272, which is very nearly 3/10 up on Ernst Kirchmeyer's time. So good showing. Jan Sandman, I rather think this is an installer for his next lap, Nico. Is that Jan Sandman, who's currently third fastest, crosses the timing line and no improvement. As I say, I rather think this is an installer for this lap that he's on now. So we keep our eyes on the 186 car. Jan Sandman then pushing as hard as he can in this 296 challenge. Sven Schirmer, who is currently fourth fastest, is out of the car, is in the pit lane and will not be taking any further part in this qualifying session. He feels that he has delivered the max he can. Now Tibor Valent, Nico, really being balked there, unfortunately, and that was through no fault of his own. And that means that Tibor Valent's time on this lap is ruined, and you can see there with his hand gestures that he felt that he was really rather balked on that lap.
Yeah, but worse for him is that his previous lap was disallowed as well, so he's got 2 pole laps that would have given him pole scrapped, and that puts him all the way down into P17 overall.
And
so
we've only got 3 minutes of the qualifying session remaining.
So he will know, obviously, Benz and his team will have told him that he needs to focus on what's ahead, and that is, you could slow down just to buy him track space. And talking about a moment...
Who is it? Shintaro against?
Shintaro, I thought was...
No, it's Ernst Kirchmeyer. I think it was Ernst Kirchmeyer.
So Tibor Valent just crossed the timing line. He also has 5 track limits to his name, but it's now or never. Well, he's got 2 more shots at this, but he needs it in the worst way, as does Karl Runefeld, yesterday's podium finisher in a lowly P15. So quite a few, well, just improved to P14 as I say it, but quite a few drivers out of position, as Jan Sandman has just come into the pits. 4 1,000s currently away from pole position, which belongs to Ernst Kirchmeier as things stand.
Alexei Komarov, the Scuderia Prague driver, is currently 6th fastest in class. And Alexei Komarov then continuing his quest. Tibor Valent and Karl Runefeld, 2 drivers who are out of position, also out of position, Nico. I'm inclined to say maybe Fritz Müller, maybe Shintaro Akatsu, you would think should be higher up the order than they are. What can happen in the final 1.5 minutes of this qualifying session? Well, Fritz Müller is not on an improvement as we track his progress. 1:43 is the target time, and only 3 drivers in those 43s. They're all Shell drivers. They're Ernst Kirchmeier, Jan Sandman and Sven Schirmer. And both Jan Sandman and Sven Schirmer are in the pit lane. Qualifying session done for those drivers. Critical one is Tibor Valent, who is down there, P17 overall, P7 in class. This is Fritz Müller then in replay. Driver of the 155 car for Garmin Motorsport.
And Tibor Valent just leaped quite a few positions all the way up into P4, so if it sticks, and I say that with caution because we've seen it otherwise, at least disaster is averted and a front second row start would be in store. Karl Runefeld also with an attempt to improve, but nothing doing for him. He can do another lap, as can Tibor Valent. Shintaro Akatsu we saw in the pit lane. He has decided to come out again and continue to compete. We've got about 7-8 cars still out on track. Anybody who is quick, Tibor Valent is going again. And we follow him here on board as he's in that middle sector.
Accelerates now. The checker flags out in the qualifying section. Any driver that is on a lap though, the lap can be counted still. back ahead of him. Keeps well out of the way and allows Tibor to go unhindered. As Nico has said, disaster has been averted. If nothing else, he's got a second row start. Certainly on the trajectory to improve. He's about a tenth and a bit down from his previous best. I rather think he knows that and he's not given it everything. So Tibor Valin finishes the lap some 3.5 tenths down on where he needed to be to trouble Ernst Kirchmayr. So I rather think, Nico, that we have our order.
Well, Karl Runefeld is still out there, half a second away. He's not going to be a front row start or a row 2 start, but I expect him to maybe improve a few positions. And, well, it's one that he improves in class, but overall from P14 to P9. So last second lunge. Charles Chan, he is our pole setter in the AMs.
Andrea Fausti there, his driver coach. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Why can you not always be like this? There's Ernst Kirchmayr and Marco Bononomi there. Shaken, not stirred.
Sorry, 4 1,000s to the good of Jan Sandman. Both of them obviously Kessel drivers, so Ronnie Kessel and the team will be jolly happy with what they were able to do. Joining Jean Roux second in the AM, so quite a successful qualifying for the team.
There is Ernst. He's happy with that. So Ernst Kirchmayr, our pole sitter for Shell drivers, for Shell Am drivers, Charles Chan, Sven Schirmer. Well, it's a second row start for Sven. You can always tell from the facial expressions of Sven Schirmer where he is in terms of happiness and his performance, and I rather think he's disappointed. Nico feels that perhaps he should have delivered more. So for Kessel Racing and our Copa Shell drivers, it's Ernst Kirchmayr that takes pole position for race 2, and of course not only the best start, an additional point as well for his points tally.
Indeed, Ernst Kirchmayr, he missed the beginning of the season, so he's not at the sharp end of the points. He's not entirely out of it.
I was going to say, he's still a contender.
He is, and here are the results on screen for you.
Ernst Kirchmayr from Jan Salmon, Sven Schirmer and Tibor Valin, all Shell drivers, and they occupy the top 4 places. Charles Chan, Jean Roux and Shintaro Katsu, the best of the AM drivers, ahead of von Skeltermar. Then it was Karl Runefeld, Eric Chung, Leon Rinbeek. Well done, Leon. Great quali. Fritz Muller, Masaru Yaneda, Alexei Komarov and Paolo Scudieri. Heading Henrik Kamstrup, Alvaro Ramos and Louis Peruskia. That is confirmation of the qualifying classification. Thanks for watching. We have Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM qualifying to come next. Bye-bye for now. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Portimão circuit for qualifying for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers as part of round 5 of Ferrari Challenge Europe for 2026. 30 minutes will be on the clock for our drivers to go out there and qualify as best they can. Here then our formal welcome to Portimão. And we have 11 drivers, a mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers that will be out there to qualify for their race to come this afternoon. Yesterday it was Sergio Paulet that would be winner for Pirelli, and for our Pirelli Am drivers, well, drama, big drama for Michael Verhagen, who was dropping way down the order right towards the end of the race. Well, he'll be hoping to avoid that drama today. Here you can see our calendar for 2026, where we're reaching the critical point now in terms of championship points, I would suggest, with after this weekend we head off to Hungary and Budapest for round 6. Then round 7 is in Barcelona, and also in Barcelona is the Finale Mondiale event as well. Track temperature currently 20 degrees, air temperature is 24 degrees, about 11 kilometers per hour of wind around at the moment, which is a little less than yesterday. But that's the way it looks right now. And this circuit is quite undulating as it winds its way through the Algarve region of Portugal. The drivers liken it a little bit to a roller coaster, and that's precisely what it is like for our drivers with the elevation changes that you can see there on our 3D graphics of the circuit. So pit lane is open now and the time has started. The drivers that you'll see will be Sergio Paulet, Max Mugelli, Danilo Del Favro, Jason McCarthy, Herbert Guys, Ruben Fernandez-Gil, Nicholas Abrahamson, what a debut he made yesterday, Michael Verhagen, Nobuhiro Amada, Thomas Nunes, Franco, Otto Blank, Giacomo Ronaldo and Juha Turalba. That's the way it looks. If there's a red colour scheme adopted in graphics, it means they're a Pirelli driver just like Nicholas Abrahamson, who we're looking at right now. If it's a white treatment in terms of colour, it means it's a Pirelli Am driver. So Nicholas Abrahamson impressed us yesterday. And there is former Ferrari Challenge champion star Giacomo Altoe, who works for various drivers in terms of coaching and offers his guidance and advice to various of our Ferrari Challenge drivers, and knows how to pedal a Ferrari Challenge car, make no mistake. So Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers out on track, and one of the first to show is yesterday's Pirelli race winner, back to winning ways for Sergio Paulet here in Portimão. Yesterday for Nico Reparto Corsa Ram, he is out there in the early stages of this. You can see from the feed that I get into our studio here that Michael Verhagen, there he is, Am driver, isn't even in the car yet. So as I say, he had dramas yesterday, Nico, and ended up finishing far from where he would have liked to have done. Now he's still in a very privileged position in terms of points haul, but it hurt him yesterday, and he'll be hoping, and you know, it's remiss of us not to have found out what was wrong with Michael yesterday.
I think what we already identified pretty much 24 hours ago in qualifying, that he had a few moments, including a veritable donut, which couldn't have done his tires a whole lot of good. And my reckoning is that it might have just been the tires going off as a result later in the race, which I would not be surprised if he decides not to come out on the first part of this quali session, where generally yesterday's rubber is being used. So if he feels like that doesn't offer him anything really, he might just come out with the fresh set right away and at a later stage. But we will find out over the course of the next 27.5 minutes. Sergio Paulet, he got back to his pole setting and winning ways yesterday. Has always been a podium finisher throughout the entirety of the season. Had a series of wins at the beginning of the championship. Was on the podium after that, but not on the top step, but returned to that spot on the sunlight yesterday. and he will look to build another streak here coming out of Portimão in race 2. He's in the middle sector. You can see personal best in sector 1. It's early stages, so not necessarily reading too much into that, but it's always great to see the 296 challenge, and especially when they're so expertly steered around this roller coaster circuit here in Portimão is always a sight to behold.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Sergio Paolo there, who, as you've indicated, had a brilliant start to the season. Then the winning streak came to an end. I mean, to be fair, he's still podiums. But yeah, the race wins eluded for a few races, but back to winning ways yesterday, and that will have can't help but have increased his confidence level. Sure. It's Max Mugelli who's currently the fastest with a 1:46.246. Don't read too much into that time because we're expecting that to really come down, and Sergio Paolo puts in his first timed lap, and it's a 1:46.673. Here's Otto Blank, then the Luig Sportivo Pro Racing driver. Otto Blank, currently sporting that all black with just shades of pink, and shades of pink is appropriate for his second sector, which is coloured purple pink, which means he's quicker than anyone. So Otto Blank looking good here in Portimão, and let's see how he does. It'll be his first venture onto the graphics with his time, and let's see what he is able to post, as he has just a few hundred meters to go now before meeting that timing line, and Otto Blank then goes fastest in class with a 1:47.118. He is the quickest of the Pirelli AM drivers.
Yeah, I talked to Otto after qualifying yesterday, and he said, well, we were very comfortable with the setup on Friday, and then all of a sudden in qualifying Saturday morning, it just didn't work the same way. Had a lot of understeer for some reason, so it just goes to prove that sometimes from one day to the next, conditions are just slightly different, and whatever works one day does not necessarily mean with a very slightly changed condition, it does exactly the same for you. As we had a brief look at Nicholas Abrahamsen, Formula Racing driver, finished second in class yesterday, was the closest to Sergio Paulet in the race yesterday. Put on a veritable chase throughout the race, but eventually Paulet proved to be too quick across quali and the race, but still very, very respectable showing for his debut.
A wonderful debut, wasn't it? And, saw him very briefly in the restaurant at the hotel last night, and yeah, very much hoping that Nicholas Abrahamsen becomes a regular feature in the Ferrari Challenge. Now, look at this from Otto Blank. Quicker than anyone, sector 1 and sector 2. This is within class, of course, so let's see what Otto Blank is able to deliver now. Perhaps he has found his comfort setting with the car and track today, as he crosses the timing line, and 9/100ths quicker than Giacomo Rinaldo, which means Otto Blank goes to the top of his respective category in terms of qualifying. So well done, Otto Blank. At the top of the Pirelli qualifying, it's Sergio Paolo. Top of Pirelli AM qualifying, Otto Blank heading Giacomo Rinaldo and Juha Turalba. That's a lovely drone shot through turn 5. As we watch the 88 car accelerate, Juha Turalba then for ML Fry Racing München, who has posted a purple sector 1. See when he crosses the sector 2 line, how that cumulative time is looking. Certainly hasn't put anything wrong thus far. 6.5 tenths up on anybody else. This is going to be a good time from Juha Turalba. We are into the 44s. It's only Sergio Paolo that's gone into the 44s. Our drone chases Juha Turalba around this Portimão circuit Long, sweeping turns, downhill sections, and this is the final turn as we split the screen, and you can see the number 9 car of Danilo Del Favaro as Juha Turalba gets ready to break the timing beat now with a time that's good enough for P2 overall, but certainly P1 in class for our Pirelli AM drivers. He is the second driver to put it into the 44s, a 1:44.912. Well done to Juha Turalba. We have 21.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And we're yet to see times from Nicholas Abrahamsson, Michael Verhagen, and Nobuhiro Imada. Sergio Paula then is in the car, but as we go to parking in the pit lane for the moment, Thomas Nunes-Franco. We can see right now who is 5th fastest in class, 7th fastest overall. Personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. So the driver of the number 67 296 Challenge car accelerating now, using all the power possible. And now, as you reach this extraordinary final turn, which almost pulls the car to the outside as you run downhill, Thomas deciding that that lap was not one that he was going to complete, and comes into the pit lane. It all goes rather quiet out there on track for the moment, with only 2 or 3 cars going around. Nobuhiro Imada is about to jump into the car, the driver from Formula Racing. And Nobuhiro, as I've mentioned more than once, does a lot of driving, Nico, only in the wonderful Ferrari Challenge cars, but also in single seaters he has as well. He's got an extraordinary pedigree of driving, as Michael Verhagen gets into his 296 Challenge car. What a season Michael has had. He, of course, coached by none other than Larry ten Voorde, Dutch superstar racing driver that he is. Larry was here with Michael earlier on in the week. It's a great combination and relationship that has worked wonders, as Sergio Paula has gone back out again to see if he can improve on his 1:44.681. So 1:44.681, as Juha Turalba now has just posted a 1:44.150. So you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen that Juha Turalba, and that's quite a margin of betterment over Sergio Paulat, some 5/10. So that's why Sergio Paulat has got about doing his job now and trying to improve. There is still just under 20 minutes of this qualifying session remaining, so there's plenty of time for improvements to come. That's for sure, but the order is Turalba, Paulat, Mugelli, Blank, Ronaldo, Del Favaro, Nunes-Franco, and still awaiting times from Abrahamsson, Verhagen and Imada. So Sergio Paulat then on an install. This lap is not one that will count necessarily. The Inico Reparto course around driving towards P1. He's still P1 in class. He isn't the Pirelli class, but P2 in the overall standings, which he will not be happy about, because that would mean he would be starting from starting position P2 if everything were to finish now, rather than the P1 that he is so used to and so likes. So our drone follows the car around this Portimão circuit. Up to 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so away from Portimão itself. Of course, along the Algarve coast we have some wonderful places like Lagos, Alvor, Portimão, all really wonderful places to visit. And of course, here at the Autodromo. Makes the visit utterly worthwhile. You can see some awesome motor racing from the Ferrari Challenge at the same time as enjoying the sunshine and the coast and the conviviality, if you will. So here comes Sergio Paulo then to break the timing beam now. And he remains P1 in class, but it remains P2 overall. You can see getting a little bit of air underneath the car as he crossed the crest of the final turn. And they're inside the Anico Reparto Corsa Ram team garage. You can see the data being crunched and analysed as Max Mugelli is on a real improvement trajectory here on, dare I say it, new tyres. For CDP Eureka competition, Max Mugelli with a purple sector 1, a purple sector 2. Max is currently third fastest overall, second fastest within class, but potentially expect that to change at the midway point of this qualifying session. So Max Mugelli, who's had quite some success in his Ferrari Challenge career, throws the car through the final turn, accelerates now, makes sure that he keeps one set of wheels within the white lines, and Max Mugelli vaults to the top of the timings with a 1:43.656. Well done, Max Mugelli. Provisional P1 position, and this was him getting some air underneath the car as he gave it everything he could. So the CDP Eureka competition team was run by Tina. Very happy with Max's performance out there on track. And here we can see quite some discussions going on with Juha Turalba for Emil Frey. Anico there, leaning right over the car. Marco Bonanno's there as well, having a conversation. See discussions. It's not Marco, I'm wrong. You can only see from a restricted angle. Certainly was one of those having a conversation there with you. He's second fastest in class for fastest overall. Max Mugelli's improved further. So a 1:43.656 was enough to put him momentarily P1, but then that was vaulted by Sergio Paulo, who's managed to get it into the 1:42s, the 1:42.980. Here comes Max Mugelli now, who's looking to usurp Sergio Paulo. It's a ding-dong battle going on between the two Pirelli drivers. Here comes Max Mugelli then to break the timing beam. Is it going to be enough? Sadly not, Nico. He's about 2/10 down on Sergio Paulo's time. But Nicholas Abrahamsson, in his debut in the Ferrari Challenge this weekend, he impressed us yesterday. He's doing the same today by having straight out of the box, Nico, gone third fastest.
Yeah, absolutely. And
now make that first fastest as I interrupt you. Apologies. Nicholas Abrahamsson now has just posted another lap, which is 8/100ths quicker than anybody else.
Yeah, and Sergio Paulo would be on trajectory to challenge for that, but he had a track limit infraction in the first sector, so what would be a 1:42.339 he just completed doesn't count, and that means he stays in P2. It also proves he's got the pace in the car and his ability, but for the time being, Nicholas Abrahamsson still reigns supreme, and there we pick him up as he is going through that extended hairpin. One of the most iconic shots that we always get here from this circuit, and iconic is also the word to be used for the 296 Challenge. A magnificent car and expertly driven by the young whippersnapper that is Nicholas Abrahamsson. So much potential already showing on his debut. And you've said it before, Nicholas and Formula Racing is a formidable combination we've seen in the past. As Abrahamsson, unfortunately, that lap was compromised due to the traffic in front of him. Great drone shot here. So we follow Abrahamsson through this left-right combination, which then throws you out onto the final short straight before that eternal right-hander sweeping onto the start-finish straight.
It just goes on forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is that long straight. It's a short uphill section that it's level for some time. As we said, the time doesn't matter right now because it was compromised by traffic. But Sergio Paulet, he is about to regain P1 based on the sector times. And make no mistake, Sergio Paulet's P2 will change into P1 and by quite some margin.
Yeah, 6/10, 1:42.286 from Sergio Paulet. So Sergio then driver of the #1 car ahead of Nicholas Abrahamson. A great showing from Giacomo Rinaldo incidentally as well. The Rosso Corsa racer with a 1:42.900. That gives him P1 in the Pirelli AM category. Here comes Nicholas Abrahamson then. He wants to respond to Sergio Paulet. So it's been a remarkable debut from the young man from Formula Racing. Personal best through sector 1. You don't necessarily need to colour every sector purple to be on a potential. He is 5/10 down on the Sergio Paulet time, so what he would have to find in the final sector is probably going to be a bit too much of a tall order, I would think, for him to trouble Sergio Paulet's time of 1:42.286. Still got 10.5 minutes remaining though in this qualifying session, so it's far from over yet. And we're running the clock on Michael Verhagen as well, who's 6th in class and 9th overall. So Michael Verhagen's driver that will want to get the hurry up, and actually he's done exactly as Nico predicted in that I don't think he did bother to come out on a scrub set of tyres from yesterday. I think they were so scrubbed they were almost on the rims, and therefore preferring just to do the second half of this qualifying session, which is always sometimes a gamble, but it's a gamble that may well pay off for Michael Verhagen. We'll see how he does. As Bartosz then, trusted companion, is looking on as we split the picture. You can see monitoring it all on his phone as Michael Verhagen then delivers P1 in class, Nico, straight out of the box. He's something of a demon driver when he needs to be. A 1:42.734 from Michael Verhagen, just besting Giacomo Rinaldo in the Pirelli AM class.
Yes, absolute clutch performance from Michael Verhagen, as we've seen time and time again. Needing a clutch lap is Nobuhiro Imada, who's way down the order, so he's certainly out of position, and he too just had a lap disallowed due to track limits, which at least would have put him up a couple of spots. So over the remaining 9 minutes, still enough time for him, but he needs to do that. Who else is out there? Sergio Paulet, he is quick, but he also had 4 track limit infractions already, so
that's 4 laps that have been taken away.
Arguably he could be way up the road. Will that come back to bite him? We're not sure. Giacomo Rinaldo, he is currently 4th overall, that is 2nd in class, would put him alongside Michael Verhagen, which is not something he would mind, but he would like to swap positions and get P1 in class and get that extra point that is awarded for a fastest lap in qualifying for pole position in class. It's not this lap, I think, even though he's not too far off, but he needs to do it again. 8 minutes remaining, all but 1 car currently out on track.
Yes, it becomes very busy for the final 8 minutes of this qualifying session as we go onto the Rosso Corsa pit wall and look on as Giacomo Rinaldo continues his quest. He's currently 2nd fastest in Pirelli AM, 4th fastest overall. There are 4 drivers into the 42s. Sergio Paulet, Nicholas Abrahamson, Michael Verhagen, Giacomo Rinaldo. Everyone else in the 43s or thereabouts. So all the data being crunched on the pit wall, as you can see. Sergio Paulet parked in the pit lane. Michael Verhagen parked in the pit lane. Now that could be quite a good strategy from Michael Verhagen, Nico, because what he's done, he's gone out on fresh rubber and he's parked the car, having done only 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, he's done 4 overall, including the installation at the slowdown lap, which means effectively only pushed for 2 laps. Nicholas Abrahamson, he came within 7/100ths of Sergio Paulet's time, but is not on a flying lap. Will he go again, or will he just settle for P2? We will find out, as Giacomo Rinaldo, he is still trying to find a way past Michael Verhagen, but it's not looking promising on this lap. Who else is out there? Nobuhiro Yamada improved by a few spots anyway, and is now 7th overall, 4th in class. He's still pushing, as is Otto Blank.
It's Giacomo Rinaldo then, as he crosses the timing line now, and it's no improvement. Now, I'm just taking a look at the tyre longevity as Sergio Paulet has decided to park the car. He has done 11 laps, Nico. It's the highest tally of anyone, and there's 5 drivers that have done 11 laps. Sergio Paulet, Giacomo Rinaldo, Max Mugelli, Juha Turalba. Danilo Del Favro, in fairness, has done 12 laps. So compare that to some other drivers like Nicholas Abrahamson, who's 3 laps to the deficit, having done 8. Michael Verhagen, 4 laps. Nobuhiro Yamada, just 5. You know, as Nobuhiro Yamada bounces across the curbs. Thinking of maintaining, or not maintaining, but protecting the tyres that you're going to have for the race, Nico. Sometimes that risk-reward strategy that we've talked about so many times in qualifying is you're better off parking the car and keeping life in your rubber for the race.
For sure. Now, what will be interesting to see is how many of those laps are on yesterday's set and today's set. So that is a part of the equation. But as you say, I mean, certainly Sergio Paulet pushed and pushed for more laps than Michael Verhagen did. So absolutely right what you said. And every lap that is still being pushed, like Nobuhiro Yamada on the fresh set of Pirelli P0s, that might play a role later in the race as we follow him around the track. Half a second down through Sector 1. Let's see what Sector 2 did for Nobuhiro. I think he lost a little bit too much time here, so going to be interesting whether he continues to battle or if he decides that at the end of this lap he will come in. Who else is still out there trying to improve? Juha Tubala has come out again with an attempt. There is Michael Verhagen. He's still in the car, so theoretically able to respond. Not currently seeing the need.
No, and as the seconds tick down and tick down and tick down, the opportunity to go out there and respond will be necessary less and less, I would say.
Yeah, and there I think the decision was just made that actually there is nobody who's going to challenge you, at least any realistic and good job is something we can absolutely second. Yesterday, Michael probably had a totally different experience in terms of tire feeling during the race.
Yeah, I agree with that. Giacomo Rinaldo also out of the car. He decides that it's as much as he can deliver. I mean, he should be very proud of that. Sergio Paulet looks on. Now, describing almost every lap there with his team. Great to watch. And there, Mr. Verhagen removes his fireproof balaclava and takes a look at the data. Drivers that we've still got out and contesting are Nobuhiro Yamada, Thomas Nunes Franco and Otto Blank, and there's Nobuhiro Yamada. Now, it wasn't many moments ago, Nico, that we were saying he's well out of position, but he has rescued a P3 placing class, P6 overall, so it'll be a third row start for Nobuhiro Yamada. And we know how lively Nobuhiro can be right at the start of the race. We see it with him more than many other drivers where he makes a move very early on. He's a brilliant race starter.
For sure, and always a great character as well. And let's see if he continues to do another one. Nunes Franco, incidentally, just improved by a position and is going again, so he might feel, Nobuhiro Yamada might feel like he's being threatened, but irrespective of that sensation, he decides that enough is enough and he dives into pit lane. So gonna be interesting if we can pick up the number 67 car, although just as I say that, the Sector 2 lost 3 seconds, so Probably that means our qualifying session is pretty much done.
What's really interesting is you'll recall that we saw the Ferrari racing team all over the Juha Turalba car. Juha has just left the pit lane.
That might be a situation, we can only speculate, where he just wants to see if whatever adjustment that they made, how exactly it will feel, rather than trying to go for another attempt at an improvement. Because with 1 minute 40 seconds, yes, he would be able to come around, but that would be a miracle lap. So
the only thing that worries
yes, they're obviously.
Let's just listen in, maybe.
In the fast and also in the first one.
So number 1, 9, 11.
1, 9, 11, 7, and the entry of 7 is
Well, learned a lot from that, did we? Yeah, I'm absolutely convinced that the Ferrari racing team, they've adjusted something on the car, and that's the reason that Juha is being sent out again, just to realise whatever it is and to see whether whatever they have done has worked or not. He's certainly not going out there to set another lap time, but it is more data analysis, and Juha Turalba back out on track, as you can see, but certainly not at a qualifying speed. So we have our pole sitters effectively, as near as makes no difference, confirmed. I appreciate we have 30 seconds still to run in this qualifying session, so it's not over until the checkered flag has come out, but it is going to be Sergio Paolo pole position for Pirelli, and it's going to be Michael Verhagen pole position for Pirelli. That's the way it will look for our second race, as Juha Turalba does bring the car back into the pit lane now, and albeit 12 seconds left on the clock, the qualifying session is done and dusted and completed for our Ferrari Challenge Trophy. Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers, I thank you. There is Nicholas Abrahamsen. What a debut he has made this weekend in the Ferrari Challenge. Should be very proud of what he has done and what he is doing. And you can see there, Giorgio Seneggiotto is the very left-hand side of your picture there, still in conversation with Sergio Paolo, and also Shintaro Akatsu was in there as well, who's a driver from the Shell category. And just take a look at the Rosso Corsa garage right now. We'll bring you the results of qualifying shortly. Confirmation of what we have suggested will be the classification. There is Giacomo Altoe. Great racing driver, Ferrari Challenge champion, and yes, lends his coaching advice to a number of drivers, because he certainly knows how to pedal the car. Right, for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli then, the Inico Reparto Corsa Ram driver Sergio Paolo. His best lap on 1:42.286, enough to give him pole position by 7/100ths over Nicholas Abrahamsen. Then for Pirelli Am, the time was a 1:42.734, and it was posted by the Ferrari Warsaw driver Michael Verhagen. Here's confirmation of the results then. Sergio Paolo, Nicholas Abrahamsen, then the top two in Trofeo Pirelli. For Pirelli Am, it was Michael Verhagen ahead of Giacomo Ronaldo. Then it was Max Mugelli, Nobuhiro Amada, Thomas Nunes Franco, and Juha Turalba ahead of Danilo Del Favaro and Otto Blank. Confirmation of qualifying from myself and Nico. Thank you for watching that qualifying session. Please make sure you join us for the races to come this afternoon live from Portimão. Bye-bye for now.